welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan,
Chris,
Lee.
having you filming us while we're doing this. It's very distracting.
You'll be fine.
Doing the stage manager countdown. It kind of felt a bit Wayne's Worldy for a minute there.
It was very professional.
It was. He even did the 3 go.
I did. That's the thing. So that's what the intro looks like if anyone was bothered as to how the intro ever looks on the podcast. And if you're listening to it, that's weird.
Yes.
Anyway, Formula One.
Formula One. And now for Facebook users, you've gone.
I was going to say they could have gone back and watched it and listened to it at the same time.
Synced it up, yeah.
That's getting too confusing now. Let's have a look.
Doesn't that mean, like, if you do that, then your mum and dad won't meet in the past or something?
Yeah, and you become your own grandfather. Oh, no, your Manx.
You need a decent pair of socks, don't you? Or you get cold
To
feet.
become your own grandfather.
No, there's
I just thought you needed a DeLorean.
No, I just keep hearing these things about you must have cold feet when you time travel because there's some sort of pair of socks.
Let's do Formula One things now.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, tell you what, I'll look at this week's show notes and not last week's.
Yeah, don't look at last week's.
I was thinking we've done all these stories.
Yeah.
We might need to do that later in the off season. Don't do it now.
Yeah, episode 84, and still we wait. Mercedes. They have chosen who the successor is going to be.
Well, who they want as their successor.
Yeah.
Or
I believe
who they say they want.
Yeah.
I think they've made an approach, haven't they?
Yes, which has been firmly rebuffed.
It has been rebuffed, but it was interesting the way that they went about the approach. They offered Williams £8.4 million, essentially half the engine cost, a discount on their engines.
Yeah.
So essentially a 50% discount on engines, and still Williams said no.
Well, it was a 50% discount on the engines and Pascal Wehrlein,
Yeah,
which effectively makes it a 40% discount.
Yeah, the massive sticking point with that is the sponsors. Martini don't want 2 drivers under 25 in that team. From a sponsor's point of view, it's not very good. You can't have either driver in running any ad campaign.
I think the bigger thing with this is the fact they're already taking a punt on Stroll. We've no idea what Stroll is going to be like in a Formula One car.
He could be Verstappen. He could be
Mariano.
He could be Taki Inui.
Yeah, he could be going through more fucking front wings than Renault 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but the big thing for me is, I remember I think I messaged you this on the chat because I don't really know, I don't understand it, but with Williams being a publicly traded company, if they lose their number one driver, their stock's not going to take a dive.
Possibly.
Possibly, but I mean the thing is they'd have to announce it to the stock market before they announced it to the media.
Yeah.
Which I always find weird because you see that a lot with football clubs that have been publicly traded, where I've seen press releases through finance companies saying that such and such has been sacked from such and such a club, and then it's on Sky Sports News 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll take a hit. But I think Chris has got a point with the sponsorship because a lot of alcohol advertising, to appear in an alcohol advert, you've got to be over 25.
Yeah.
And having a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old, which is below the legal drinking age in Canada, or most of Canada, where he's from, it kind of scuppers the amount of opportunities for sponsorship.
Course.
You know, they're going to get drink martini, just like Rob Smedley.
Yeah.
And Rob Smedley standing there with a can of lager or something.
Yeah.
Pascal Wehrlein's what,
John
21?
Smith,
Is he?
22 just turned.
22. So it's still relatively young to be doing alcohol advertising. And I think is there some sort of rule where you can't do alcohol advertising?
Yeah, in the UK you've got to be over 25 to appear in an alcohol advert.
There you go. That's going to be a bit of a sticking point, I think, for Martini at least.
Yeah. How much do Williams were 4th this year in the championship? Yes,
Fifth.
How much do they get for 5th in the championship?
Not as much as you get for 4th.
No,
and more than you get for 6th.
And this week's Captain Obvious is.
But I tell you what, I bet it's more than $8 million.
Yeah, I think 10th place gets 30 million.
So this is the thing. Like if they lose Bottas, they're going to hemorrhage points depending on who they get in. because if there's one thing Bottas is good for,
Scoring points.
It's taking it's. I don't think he's the sort of driver that will get more out of a car, but if that car can finish fifth in every Grand Prix, you're probably going to see Bottas fifth in every
Which is
Grand
why,
Prix.
if he went to Mercedes with a car that's capable of finishing in the top two,
he'll
in
get
2016.
podiums. Yeah,
Well, yeah, in 2016 he has been. He'll be in the
he'll
top
win a
two.
race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, almost guarantee it.
So, but I think it might be a bad move for Bottas, because I still think I don't think Mercedes are going to be in the line of creating drivers. I just don't think they're going to be that team. I don't think they're going to be Red Bull. I think they're going to be the team that wants the best two drivers that they can possibly get at any point. So does that mean that Bottas is merely a stopgap until the contracts for, say, an Alonso or a Vettel?
No, I just think it's because Rosberg's decision has come so late in the day, 5 days after the season had finished, and most of the contracts were signed before the season had ended.
Yeah, but Mark Webber, for instance, thinks this as well, because this is why he thought it was Pascal Wehrlein, because he actually called whoever gets that seat a sacrificial lamb that will be kept for a year and then thrown away to get a top line driver in.
I can see his point, because when you've got the likes of Vettel and Alonso both out of contract at the end of 2017.
And don't forget, this is since Mercedes came into Formula One, this is the first year Mercedes are going to start a championship without a German driver in the team
At the moment.
at the moment.
As things stand.
But I don't think with Wehrlein, because I don't think he's good enough.
I think that's the main thinking point, isn't it, of most pundits, is that they believe that Pascal Wehrlein is going to be a great driver, but that he's not at the level at the moment that Nico Rosberg was, where he could push Lewis Hamilton, and both Mercedes would almost be if they take this 2016 advantage into 2017.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
They're not
Potential
going
is
to-
only 2 steps away from being a failure.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, they're not comfortable with Pascal Wehrlein being that driver that can be second or lead Lewis Hamilton quite comfortably in a race situation and finish quite comfortably 1-2 almost every race. Which Mercedes as a brand, as a team, that's what they want. So they need to get the best driver they possibly can. I agree with that, but the best driver they possibly can at the moment.
Yeah.
And the best driver they can possibly get at the moment looks to be
Valtteri Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's all well and good saying Valtteri will take the position at Williams, but
Mercedes, you mean?
Sorry, Mercedes. But given the fact you've got a bit of a shuffle in Williams at the minute with Paddy Logo in there, given the fact that he's got a 2-year deal with Williams in his pocket right now,
Who? Bottas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
would you gamble your Formula One career on going to Mercedes?
Yes.
For 1 year, you would, because given the fact that you're probably going to be a number 2 driver behind Lewis Hamilton.
Well,
Whoever takes that second seat, unless they manage to get Vettel or Alonso out of their current contract, whoever takes it is going to be completely barricadoed.
Yeah,
well, I don't think so. I think Mercedes' philosophy won't change, and it's up to that driver to prove whether or not they can do the same job that Nico Rosberg did. Lewis Hamilton had a lot of failures in 2016. Doesn't mean he's not going to have the same amount of failures or more in 2017. Bottas could find himself, if he takes that seat, in a world championship winning position.
I don't think they're going to do anything to favour whoever comes in.
I think that
over.
totally depends on what Red Bull do.
No, I don't think they're going to do anything to favour Lewis Hamilton over whoever comes in. But he's been helping develop the new car.
So he's already one step ahead.
He has an advantage.
And he also said, I'd just like to point out as well, Lewis Hamilton said on Monday, which would be normal podcast recording day for us, but we decided to hold back a couple of days because of the news that...
No, this is Monday.
No, this isn't Monday.
No, it is. We swapped them round, so the first day of the week this week was Wednesday. This is Monday.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right, I'm with you now.
So Lewis Hamilton said on Wednesday... Now I'm really confused. That he posted a picture of him with Toto Wolff on Instagram, looking extremely happy, and said, "Look, I'm really looking forward to 2017 after an amazing meeting with Toto Wolff."
Yeah, you could almost see the glisten of Toto's balls off his lips.
Well, I'm wondering if that meeting had something to do with Lewis, you are going to be the number one driver. Whoever we get in is going to act as a number two, much in the same way as Ferrari did in the early 2000s with Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, I still think
More Rainier Wolfcastle this time than Toto Wolff.
I don't think Lewis Hamilton would want that.
Toto Wolfcastle?
I think
Lewis Hamilton wants to beat his teammate. He doesn't want to be given wins.
No, I don't think he would either. But
I just quickly, this is the same Lewis Hamilton that threatened to quit the team after they came together in Spain.
Well, apparently there was a mid-season quit threat, and it wasn't in Spain. It was later than that. I think it may have been after Baku, perhaps.
I think what Lewis Hamilton says to the media and what Lewis Hamilton says behind closed doors are two very different things.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, undoubtedly.
But so what I was going to say with the Mercedes thing was I've forgotten. It's gone. Fuck it. Carry on.
I was going to say that Valtteri Bottas. Okay, if Mercedes do manage to prize their man away from Williams, that leaves, of course, a hole in the Williams seat. Now, I wonder if Williams have said no to Pascal Wehrlein because they're the same mindset as Mercedes. He's good, but he's probably not good enough.
And they need a lead driver.
They need a lead driver. Now, I stated quite clearly that I thought Paul Di Resta would be a good shout for the Mercedes seat if they were just going to have somebody in for 1 year. With him being the test reserve driver in 2016 at Williams, it would make a completely logical sense to move him up to race seat. I think he's about 28 now, Paul Di Resta, something like that, 28, 29. And he would be a good lead driver. Now, all right, he's not had a lot of experience with these turbo era Formula One cars. His last racing season was 2013, but he's part of that Williams team. He's already he's helped develop this season's car as much as it was developed. Not very much. No. So to me, that seems like a logical step, more so than him perhaps going to Mercedes now. That if Bottas is shipped out of Williams to go to Mercedes, and it's looking quite likely that he will be, that Williams want a stronger lead driver.
Do you think it's looking likely? Because I think unless there's something inside Bottas's contract that he can use as a get-out clause, and I don't think there will be, because I don't think Bottas is. I'm sure he's got a very good representative, but I don't think he's got
Toto Wolff.
Yeah, but
that's. I'll bring that up when he's finished his point.
I don't believe Bottas is good enough or has the reputation enough to go and sit down in a meeting room to talk contracts. And he's not like Fernando Alonso or Sebastian Vettel, who can turn around and say, I want this, this, and this, and this, because I am this. He hasn't got the I am this card to play. So he's basically signed a contract, which I'm sure is very good for him, very lucrative for him. But I don't think it's not going to be the same as it would be for a top line driver's contract. So I doubt he'll have the get out clause he needs. And at that point, I don't believe that Mercedes.
I don't know about that, because he was one of the best that Williams could get.
Yeah, unless that they. Don't forget, at the time he was signing his contract, they were on the verge of signing Jenson Button instead. So the only other thing I can think is, do you think maybe that Bottas's contract was done while that was going on? At that point, because Williams had all the cards on the deck there when it looked like Button was going to go to Williams.
Yeah, but it was like you said before, Lee. It's like Jenson turned Williams down.
Yeah, but Bottas might not have known that when he signed his contract.
No, I know what you mean. So, but I think we would have still been looking at had Jenson gone to Williams, a Button Bottas team rather than a Button Massa team.
No, Stroll.
No, I think Bottas. I think it would have been Button and Bottas.
No, I think they'd have definitely. If they took Button on the age years, they'd have definitely took somebody younger, and I think they'd have took Stroll and his 30 million on board, and then Button as a lead driver.
Possibly, I think their strategy might have changed when they realised that they weren't going to get Jenson.
Though surely Button's going to bring more in sponsorship than Bottas does.
I'm sure he does. But I'm sure they would have if they could have had Jensen over Bottas. I'm sure they'd have gone that route. But I just think that seat that Stroll has got was always destined for Stroll.
No, I could see that being a Button
Do you think
Bottas,
so?
because you get the money from Button, who is very, very marketable, and you got two drivers who you know are going to earn you points.
Yeah.
Well, there was only the degree of certainty with Stroll getting his seat when he won European F3, because if he hadn't have done, he wouldn't have qualified for the super license.
Right. Okay.
Because they've changed the rules.
Yeah.
And now it's not a certain number of races or a certain number of starts.
Certain number of
in the
accolades.
formulas. It's actually championships
As it should be.
in the lower formula.
Yeah.
And I think it only counts as race starts and wins in WEC, GP2, and IndyCar. Anything below that, you've got to be a series champion and over 18.
I'd argue GP2 shouldn't count.
Yeah, but it's the official sort of.
It's the official feeder
Yeah.
series.
No,
so they
no,
have to-
I understand why it does, but I like the fact that WEC and
IndyCar.
IndyCar, because you're talking about two championships, which
They're Premier class.
yeah, Premier class. Like WEC should count as well. I know it's a completely different discipline, but you're still talking about the pinnacle of that motorsport.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I think
GT racing.
Yeah.
well,
It's like the pinnacle of GT
Yeah,
racing.
Yeah, and I think NASCAR's in there as well. But no NASCAR driver's ever going to switch to Formula One.
no,
I wouldn't have thought so.
No.
because they're all 50.
Can we go back? We mentioned about Toto being Bottas's manager.
Well, on his
And-
management team, yeah.
Or on his management team. And everyone's been talking that up like it's a good thing. But if you're Bottas, how much do you trust the team principal of Mercedes when he's telling you that you going to Mercedes is going to be good for you?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But,
Yeah.
Because Mercedes getting Bottas could be good for Mercedes, but not
Yeah.
good for
Don't
Bottas.
forget Toto Wolff, where Toto Wolff is from before. No, I don't mean Austria. Don't forget where Toto Wolff came from before he went to Mercedes. He was a Williams.
Ex-Williams.
He was a
shareholder.
Williams. He had
But
something like
he still
20%
is a
of the
Williams
team.
shareholder.
No, he sold his shares in
In
Williams.
fact, yeah, but I bet that's why he's still got a say in Bottas. I bet this
He
is
sold
still,
his shares.
Yeah,
He's-
no, but I'm
I'm pretty sure he's just on Valtteri Bottas's monitor.
yeah, but he would have been on
Yeah,
the
he-
same thing because he was part of.
Yeah, he started
Yeah.
managing Bottas when he was a Williams director.
Yeah.
And then he sells his shares in Williams probably to Lawrence Stroll.
He's still
Moves
on
to
the board
Mercedes,
of Bottas.
but he's still part owner of Bottas.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's no conflict of interest.
No. The other thing is, like,
But
so-
if you're talking conflict of interest between F1 manager / team principal and drivers, he doesn't rate highly on the Briatore scale.
No.
No, but let's see if let's say he is on the Bottas board because he was embedded in Williams. If it is just the fact that he's still there because he was there in the first place, and he's not got like a massively vested interest in Valtteri Bottas, it's not like Flavio and Alonso, for instance. Then could Bottas be thinking, as I think would happen, he only wants me there because they're going to keep me for a year. I'm easy to get because he's on the board, and then they're going to fuck me off.
That'd be the worry if you're Bottas.
That's what Dan's
Yeah.
sort of point is. I think do you trust your manager
Yeah.
when your manager is doing what's best for him as well?
Yeah.
And you need to trust what your manager's telling you.
Because the other thing is as well is that I'm saying that quite a lot tonight. Bottas needs this could be good for him if he goes to Mercedes, I suppose. But Bottas needs another year, like his year in Williams when Ferrari were looking at him, because his stock has dropped
He's
so
gone
much.
from future world champion Valtteri Bottas to
almost another year like that. His fingernails will be digging into Formula One to stay there.
I think 2016 was an okay year for Valtteri Bottas. 2015 was
You
year
say it
for
was
him.
okay, but he was still only a match for his teammate that retired.
2015, we thought he was going to win a race.
Yeah.
Yeah, first half of 2015, we thought he was going to win a race.
I was thinking of Silverstone.
Yeah,
in
and that's when he fell apart.
Yeah.
Silverstone 2015.
Yeah.
When it started raining, Valtteri Bottas dissolved.
Yeah.
We lost the world champion Valtteri Bottas, washed away into the drain, and we lost him for the rest of that 2015 season. And 2016, I don't think we did. I'm not sure if he scored any podiums or not in 2016.
But of course, it's impossible to tell how much is Bottas and how much is the Williams car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. That car's not great, but I still believe that car was more of a match for Force India than it appeared, and I think the drivers underperformed in the car they were given. I know we can never tell.
Yeah,
I
I do tend to agree with you, but
Yeah.
as you say, we can't actually tell.
we'll never know. But it's just I don't believe that Williams all of a sudden are making the 5th best car on the grid. So quickly. I still think that car should have been above where it was.
Yeah, they should have been fighting for third, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just been sent something now. It's actually from someone that's posted on Reddit. I've just attended a seminar by Andy Cowell, the managing director of AMG High Performance Powertrain.
Yeah.
Other than talking about getting into F1 and what goes into engineering the F1 power unit, he had some interesting tidbits to say. There's going to be a board meeting on Friday about replacing Rosberg, with the target drivers being formally announced next week. So it looks like we're going to see more announcements from Mercedes who they're after.
Bottas or Verline.
He actually mentioned Ocon, Button and Alonso as potential targets.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah,
Alonso's publicly been written off by quite a lot of people.
By
Including
McLaren.
By McLaren.
and Fernando Alonso.
No, but
And-
that was a
And
public statement.
Briatore,
But these
who's
are
his
all...
manager, so...
Yeah, but do you trust that?
Would you trust anything Flavio Briatore says?
Do you know Mark Webber said that when after Crashgate that Flavio was almost not allowed to manage drivers, wasn't he, after Crashgate?
Yeah.
And Mark Webber said, "I'll leave the sport tomorrow if Flavio can't manage me because he's the only person I trust in this paddock."
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Flavio. Didn't he say something like I would follow? He didn't say these exact words, but something like I would follow the man through the gates of hell. or
Yeah.
something like
It was very, very dramatic.
that. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I seem to remember something like that at the time.
Bernie had a pitchfork and he's like, "I can
Yeah.
arrange that."
See, Andy Cowell is is, as you just said, the engine man for AMG Mercedes. He's responsible for the. I think he's the head of the power unit.
Managing director of AMG High Performance.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he's responsible for the Mercedes power unit, which goes into the Formula One cars. So I don't whether or not those drivers are just his picks. And does he actually get a say? Is he part of the Mercedes board, or does he just give them the engines?
Tell you what, after reading that, Pascal Wehrlein's not going to have a fucking toy left in his cot, is he?
No,
Well,
Pascal.
it depends how badly they want these people.
Jenson Button.
I
being
still think that's
mentioned
the best option.
Jenson Button being mentioned by somebody actually within Mercedes AMG hierarchy is
It's quite interesting because I don't think they've talked about him.
no
Lots
and,
of people outside
and with a
outside the sport. Lots of people sat on the other end of the table to me, Lee.
No,
Have
but
mentioned Jenson Button.
but with a formal announcement being made next week, and also them mentioning Ocon, that's starting getting the cogs turning in my head again with more speculation. I wonder if they'd offer Force India an engine discount and Pascal Wehrlein for Esteban Ocon.
I don't think they'd take it.
no, they already said that they already didn't want him. They had the option to have him, didn't they? And
Yeah,
they turned
they've
it
already
down.
they've already knocked him back once before because they could have had the pick of either of them. Just by the way, it was Red Bennett that sent us
Thank you very much,
this. So
Red.
thank you, Red.
Thank you. Is that his real name?
That's his name on Facebook.
We've heard from Red before.
We have.
Yeah.
No, Grant.
no.
Weird name. Yeah, I mean,
He sat there going, Lee.
Right, if I take my fucking Buttons spectacles off,
You love him so much you picked his glasses up from his
Yeah.
house last time you were there.
I still think if you need a driver for 1 year, that's gonna work with the guy you've already got in the car. That's gonna work for sponsors.
That's gonna be a solid front two finisher every time in the best car.
If you give him a car to finish on the podium, and he's gonna fucking stick it there all day long, and when Lewis slips up, he's the one that can step in and win the race.
And can take a fight to Lewis if needs be. You know,
but once a year off.
What, does he want a year off?
I think he does, yeah.
I think he's upset. I
think he would want a year off. That's kind of like somebody saying to me, you're looking forward to your 2-week holiday in Spain. I'm like, I'm looking forward to my 2-week holiday in Spain. That's great. That's great. By the way, if you don't go on your 2-week holiday to Spain, I will give you lots of money to do this.
Yeah.
How much money? All of the money.
Yeah.
Really? And I can do this and be the best at it? Yes, but you'll get your 2-week holiday in Spain next year.
But Jensen's got most of the money anyway.
See, but the thing is, I don't think Jensen wants to break from Formula One. I think Jensen wants to break from being in a McLaren in Formula One. I think he wants to break from being at the back of the grid. I think he wants to break from going out in Q3.
I think he's kind of hoping that 2017 McLaren is good and that the 2018 McLaren is better. But by this point, Fernando's already gone, or Stoffel's no good, and Jensen has to jump back into the car.
Yeah.
That's what he's hoping for, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So the option to go to a team in 2017, a year early, that almost certainly will be at the front of the pack, I think he'd find it very difficult to say no.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, if he could get a good year in Mercedes, where he was up the front again, and people remembered who he was, and let's just say that the McLaren isn't great, and Fernando jacks in at the end of next year, a year of getting podiums and a couple of wins would put him in a much better position to keep that 2018 back at McLaren alive.
Yeah, I mean, if think about it from Jensen Button's perspective, how many cars has he driven that have been absolute dogs?
All of them.
The ones that weren't Brawn.
He had a good McLaren in 2011 and a good
Even
Brawn.
that Brawn was a dog at times later on in the season. He was fighting that car, and he would qualify like third or fourth, and he'd be fighting to keep it in the points.
Yeah. I would say he's had 3 really top quality.
I think
The
the 2011
challenging
must have been
cars.
quite good
The
as well.
2011 McLaren, definitely. Obviously the Brawn. 2004, third in the Drivers' Championship in the BAR.
Was that when? BAR when he finished behind. Was it Alonso and Schumacher?
No, Schumacher and Barrichello, wasn't it? I think it was Schumacher Barrichello. I think that was one of the Ferrari years.
The Ferrari years.
But apart from that, he's been sort of stuck with a midfield car. Sometimes getting more out of it than he should.
Yeah.
And other times, especially if it said Honda on it anywhere, just being
kind of a
brick.
shame, really, because he loves Japan, doesn't he? And he loves all things Japanese. He spent a lot of time in Japan. He speaks a bit of Japanese.
Yeah.
Great rapport with the Japanese people, but he appears to be hurt by the engine that he actually loves, the company that, that he loves. You know, and as soon as they left him last time, he was world champion.
Yeah.
So, weirdly enough, when Honda bailed out last time, it was Mercedes that saved him and gave him a world championship.
Well, that's it.
So,
he's won one race with a Honda engine.
that was
Hungary.
with Hungary 2006.
Hungary 2006, his first win. But yeah, that's the only race that he's won under Honda power.
See, I think the other people, the other thing that
all of his other wins,
Mercedes.
there's been a Mercedes in the back of that car.
Yeah, what people might not think as well is the fact that Mercedes essentially is the team he won a world championship for.
It was the Brawn GP. A lot of that team who was there. We were talking last week about Andrew Shovlin.
Yeah.
Andrew Shovlin was a race engineer for Jensen Button in 2009. He's still at that team.
Yeah.
He's moved up a little bit now. I don't think he's a race engineer anymore, but he's moved up to be a sort of like racing director of some description. So you know there are still people like that team.
Why can't it be hiring team?
There's still people at that team that he knows and recognises and has worked with.
Yeah.
And there will still be, and I don't mean this in a horrible way, but there will still be some like lower level staff working in the factory and people in the car building who were there in his Honda days, and possibly there in his BAR days. That people who just turn up to work, the factory,
95ers.
Turn up to work, go home at night, and he might even recognise or know some of those people and be comfortable going back there. We don't know, but it's the Brackley Formula One team, now the very successful Mercedes outfit.
Yes, the German Brackley.
Yeah, the German Brackley. Yeah.
Little umlaut over the A or something.
Yeah.
I still think
Brackley twinned with Stuttgart.
Regardless of what's come out about Flavio and stuff, I still believe it'll be Fernando Alonso that gets that car. I still think that's going to happen, and part of me thinks that them coming out and saying we've approached Bottas is a smokescreen for what is actually going on behind closed doors,
or to panic somebody else into making a move,
or a negotiating position.
Yeah,
which of course Briatore's saying, no, he's not going. There's no way he's going there.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about them doing it the other way around, and it could just all be fucking gamesmanship between the pair of them.
Yeah,
because I suppose the thing is, Fernando and Flav are still going to want an Alonso-style contract with them, and Mercedes, their line of negotiation, if there's negotiation going on, of course, would be, would you like a chance to be world champion again, or do you want to drive for McLaren?
Yeah.
So it's from that standpoint, but Alonso has fucking zero cards in his pocket, and then they could turn around and say, yeah, well, if you don't want the seat and you don't want to fight for a world championship, we'll just give it to Valtteri Bottas and he can finish second all year.
Yeah. There is that. The only other way you can look at it from Fernando Alonso's point of view is, oh shit, this 2017 Honda power unit is really something, or this 2017 McLaren is really something. There could be McLaren or Honda or both might have an ace up their sleeve, which they've gone to the drivers. They've lifted their sleeves, but look at this. Bloody hell, really? Seriously?
But I'm sure every team goes, we've got a fucking great car next year.
Yeah, but everybody would say it.
I imagine that about 30 minutes after Rosberg announced his retirement, Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari were going to their drivers. Have you seen how good next year's car's going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, have a look at this.
Yeah.
Pop into the simulator for a minute.
I didn't.
It's got leather seats.
I didn't tell you this,
it's got
Nando.
a CD player.
Not going to say anything to you, Nando, but if I just say 0G, and I'll leave it at that.
Here's another. While we're on the subject of the McLaren and the Honda engine, another thing from Andy Cowell's seminar.
Yeah.
Honda are refusing to use the second combustion chamber technology for some reason. The one that Ferrari and Renault have both been using in their engines. The ones that get all the horsepower.
Yeah.
Or the PS or
so
whatever it is.
So they fucked it again.
Yeah. Common internet thinking says Honda are refusing to use it because it's a case of not invented here syndrome.
Yeah, honour. And the thing was, last year, up halfway through the season, if I can't remember,
that's when they went, the turbo goes in the middle.
Yeah, no, but and somebody actually said from Honda, next year we'll copy Mercedes. I remember that being a thing that was said by people that were to do with Honda and McLaren. So for that to come out now that they're just not doing that again, fuck.
Have they screwed up 2017 before the cars even
I'm sure
come off the computer?
I'm sure the engine's going to be better, and I'm sure I genuinely believe that this is the year that we'll see McLaren mid-grid again, like third, fourth best team.
Remember when the Phantom Menace came out and we all thought Attack of the Clones is going to be better, and then Revenge of the Sith was going to be better, and it was all right.
No, Revenge of the Sith was good. I quite enjoyed that one.
Are you trying to say that Disney need to make the engines for McLaren?
Well, they've got a Mickey Mouse company making them at the minute. On the subject of next year's cars being absolutely shit hot, Lee, the thing that you found the other day, Toro Rosso started designing the 2017 car in September 2015.
Before the rules were even confirmed.
Yeah, well, we thought that Manor were quite
Yeah.
hot off the press on it. We started designing this car in January 2016. So, well, that's impressive because I'm pretty sure the rules weren't finalised until they had a meeting in Geneva in March or
Well,
February.
The France,
Well, they were talking about what it would look like, weren't they?
Yeah, but they didn't know until the rules
I mean,
were
they-
finalised.
No, they didn't know exactly what it was going to be,
No,
but they
no.
knew
yeah,
wider,
roundabout.
bigger.
Yeah.
So they started making things wider and bigger, then got the measurements and was like, yeah, we
Can
were
you
close.
make that smaller?
You just shave half an inch off each side.
Yeah,
Oh no, that's McLaren territory. That do you remember that was that McLaren gate? And
the size be 0.
no, it was the Hunt winning year of '76 when McLaren took half an inch off each side of their car.
Yeah, it was deemed illegal.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
illegal. Yeah.
Or the Mansell year when they had to take about 3 inches off each side of the cockpit to fit him in.
Well, yeah,
We've gone quiet.
because we were talking about Mansell not fitting in a McLaren.
Well, like you say, the whatever his name is, French toast. I forgot his name.
Franz Tost.
Yeah. The
French toast.
um,
What's your name for Dietrich Mateschitz? Should I know?
No.
You're listening to Three Legs, Four Wheels.
Don't tell me. Helmut Mark. Oh, I didn't see you there.
But yeah, anyway, French toast.
He's only got one eye.
oh right, I didn't know that.
French toast.
Yeah, I was just basically going to say what Dan was saying, that yeah, they feel like they got it right with the guessing of what the rules were going to end up being, and
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, I take what them saying that they started developing the car early more serious than I do Manor, because I don't think it matters how early you start developing the Manor. You're still building it with stickle bricks.
Yeah, you're not building it with the money or the
Not even Lego.
the resources that you should have.
I mean, they say they started developing the car then, but that was going to be computer models, and wouldn't surprise me if they just had a
But Bob, can you knock up a quick design for this?
varying set of we'll see see how it runs this width and length.
Oh well, they probably took like 3 or 4 of their designers and then a couple of other team members, and just had a small like prototype team. Yeah, like running CFD and computer simulations, and then that works on the computer simulations. Let's knock up a quarter scale model and lash it in the wind tunnel and see what happens.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the big boy team's just giving Adrian Newey a load of pencils and said, right, there's the rules. There you go.
Yeah.
Walking around picking up little bits of paper that he's thrown on the floor.
An interesting scientific thing which I think Adam Cooper came up with on Twitter was central gravity for these wider, fatter cars with the bigger tyres as well. Drivers don't have to be so light as they have been in 2016, 2015. Remember Nico Hulkenberg being like, man, I can't lose any more weight. I'm like 6'4". How am I supposed to lose any more weight? I'm going to chop my arm off. They don't have to be so light.
Yeah.
They can be heavier in 2017 because the wider tyres and the wider stance of the car will actually lend itself to having more weight, central gravity. You're more likely to create a stable car. There'll be an optimum weight, but it'll be a lot more than it was in 2015, 20. So
hey, I'm in with a chance.
Danny Ricciardo could well go and eat like 2 kilos of barbecue. And
He doesn't need to starve himself before Austin.
No, he doesn't. So, do you remember when Mark Webber, like his last couple of years in Formula 1, he looked quite gaunt, didn't he?
Oh, he turned into Skeletor, didn't he?
Yeah,
he looked sick.
That's probably the end of that for Formula 1 drivers, and it'll be muscle mass, not fat, muscle mass. Because
they'll have to be stronger to throw the cars around.
That's it. They'll have to be stronger because the central gravity, so that they can weigh more. But obviously, it's better if they weigh more in muscle. And if they're throwing these cars around, they're going to experience more G-force because they can go around corners a lot faster.
I tell you what, your older Formula 1 drivers too that have been doing this for a longer time than the young guys, like say Max, for instance.
Yeah.
I'll probably find they've got a slight advantage over the course of a race, because when you look at like Kimi for instance, he's still got a massive Formula One driver neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to come in awfully handy if these cars are going like
That's
3
it.
seconds
Well,
faster.
if you look at pictures of Lewis Hamilton 2007 in his
Yeah.
pencil neck, and then Lewis Hamilton 2008
Yeah,
with his
it's
Hulk
crazy.
Hogan neck.
Yeah.
Like-
that video of Fernando Alonso breaking walnuts on his neck muscles.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
yeah,
that.
yeah, that was 2006, was it?
Something like that. It was
Yeah.
it was Renault time.
Yeah, Renault
Yeah.
years. Yeah, breaking a walnut.
Have
on
you
his
ever
neck.
seen that, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental, absolutely mental.
Have you ever tried it?
No,
Doesn't work.
don't want to.
Doesn't work for me. All that happened is my neck just swallowed it. Didn't do anything. just had a nut.
Still a walnut.
Yeah,
Walnut in there
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
It wasn't the walnuts you used for that cake, was it?
Sometimes, Chris, there's questions you want to ask, but you shouldn't because you don't want to know the answer.
Dum dum dum.
With the websites you visit. Anyway,
Wow.
got to talk about the Paddy Lowe thing as well, because
Yeah, this-
that is the ongoing other Williams
Some
Mercedes situation at the
Some
moment.
people are saying that this is tied in to it's a part of the Bottas deal.
I don't
Given
believe
Paddy
that.
Lowe and Mercedes can have James Allison. So, well, hang on a second. Everybody is saying this is completely separate development and has nothing to do with Valtteri Bottas' approach and any deal done with any drivers to do with Williams. Nothing to do with Paddy Lowe. Probably going to Williams. That's probably going to be announced sometime in the next week or so as to whether he is or isn't actually going to go.
Hasn't already been announced.
No,
No,
it's
he's not. He's not officially there or officially leaving Mercedes. The problem Williams have got is if Paddy Lowe does go, there's a 6-month gardening leave period on Paddy Lowe's contract, which means he can't go to Williams for 6 months.
Yes, but isn't his contract expiring sort of any day soon?
At the end
in
of
about
this year,
17 days as we record. So if he's not signed his new deal, he is a free agent and he can go where he wants.
on the 1st of January.
Yeah, and surely they can't have...
So we might wait till January.
Surely they can't have the contract run till January and then stipulate 6 months gardening leave after that.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, ESPN are saying that the contract expires at the end of this year, and it means that he may not have to serve any period of gardening leave. It just depends if there's any clauses in there about him going to another team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other development with that being that a lot of people believe that James Allison is going to Mercedes stems from an approach from McLaren, which could well have been after Zach Brown took over. And McLaren's response was, we were told by James Allison's people that we can't approach James Allison because he is under contract with another Formula One team.
And then when we asked again, they said he was washing his hair.
So a lot of people have put 2 and 2 together, come up with 4 and a bit.
Mercedes.
Come up with 4 and a bit, yeah, which equals Mercedes. So James Allison to Mercedes and Paddy Lowe off to Williams.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that ESPN are pointing out with
Paddy Lowe
Lowe
started at
making-
Williams,
yeah.
by the way, just to point that out. He started in the 90s.
But with him making the move, Claire Williams has already suggested that there's going to be a revamp of the team for next year.
Bye-bye, Rob.
And yeah, the 2017 role of Rob Smedley is currently unclear.
Well, there was something that I saw not so long ago saying that he's going to spend more time in England rather than going to races.
Only because they can't trust him to turn up at the right on the right flight at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what goes on? I mean, he was a key member at Ferrari for a while. I refuse to believe that it's all his fault what's going on with Williams. And maybe he just wants to spend more time with his family. You know, his family's in England.
Or
Maybe
keep him away from Ted Kravitz so they don't have another fight.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't want to run around the world at the minute.
You could probably understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the excuse that Nico's used, or the reason that Nico's used.
Yeah.
And the fact, and I'm not being funny, the fact Massa's not in the team, maybe it's the fact his best
I was
mate's
going
not
to say,
there.
yeah,
Me mate-
Felipe Baby's gone.
Yeah, my mate's gone. It's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see what's happening where, because I think the pit wall could look incredibly different for all teams next season. I mean, the axe is going to be wielded at Ferrari with a vengeance.
If Marchione has his way, but Marchione might not get his way yet.
What good will that do to Ferrari to destabilise the team even more?
Given that
It
over
will.
the last few races they looked like they were finally getting their shit together.
It would be a wise choice to stabilise that rocky ship and just say, look, just concentrate on next year's car and we'll see what happens next year. Because 2016's done. There's no point in being like, 2016 was not a failure, everybody out.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's, like you just said, Lee, what's that going to do for Ferrari? Everybody out. Oh, shit, we've got no one left.
Bernie Eccleston summed it up. Bernie Eccleston said in an interview, I think it was last week or something like that, Ferrari have turned into Italians again.
I would just like to point out as well, quickly, just going back to another, because you mentioning Bernie there, is just Bernie Eccleston has asked to be kept in regular contact with Mercedes in regards to their new driver, whoever it is they choose to fill that seat. So, more strange Bernieisms.
Well, let's face it, right? Bernie's been...
Tell me first. Tell me first. I own the
No,
company.
no,
Tell
no.
me first.
Bernie's been instrumental in getting different drivers in different teams over the years.
Oh, yeah.
He engineered Vettel to Ferrari, if you believe the
Yeah,
rumours.
and I do know, yeah, but Seb thanks him for that.
Well, I mean, you go back to the early '80s. He got Lauda in a McLaren.
Yeah, I think that wasn't there something to do with him getting Montoya in the McLaren as well, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
But the thing is, like, there is no way in this earth that he isn't lobbying for Fernando Alonso in that car because of what it will do for viewers.
For the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, as far as he's concerned, that will be his number one priority going into this year, is to make sure Fernando Alonso starts the season in silver.
Which is possible.
It would be a Bernie-esque thing to do.
Oh, no,
says
I
it,
don't think it's a Bernie-esque thing to do. I think it's just a good promoter thing to do.
Yeah. You mentioned Montoya, actually. Jimmy Fitzpatrick says that he thinks he would be the ideal replacement to come into F1. Not necessarily in Mercedes, I don't think, but...
Is he new to Formula One or something? Your man?
No, he knows who Montoya is, but maybe if Williams lose Bottas...
But he weighs the same amount as 3 Formula One drivers.
But you said Formula One drivers don't have to be skinny anymore.
Not
Well,
not 3
that-
times the size.
No. I think that's the other end of the scale.
Montoya
I'm not
was
talking about
ace.
like getting Alan Jones back in the car or anything.
Actually, Montoya in a manner, and that'd give him the downforce.
Yeah, Montoya was a fine Formula One driver. He should have won a world championship.
Yeah.
And he should have stayed. He should have been in the sport longer, at the top level. But how old is he now? He must be pushing like 45 or something like that.
Yeah, he must be about 45, I think. Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, and in NASCAR, it's NASCAR he does nowadays, isn't it?
It is now, yeah.
Yeah.
You,
So
you can race them older than you can Formula One cars.
well, that's
Yeah.
it. He's in NASCAR because he's too old for IndyCar.
He's 41.
Oh, is
So-
Yeah.
There's a difference between having.
And he's also just been in IndyCar this season.
Oh, is
He's
he?
been back in IndyCar for the
but
last
there's
3 years.
but how long's he been out of Formula One for?
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like saying Jacques Villeneuve should come back.
Don't say that, baby. The other option, if Williams want to take an older driver, of course, is somebody that's been cropping up throughout the season that he's had off and has now possibly cropped up in the news again, but it's from a source in Spanish and we're not too sure. But Maldonado's making noises again.
I think...
The noises that he usually makes, get out the way. Oh, sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised for him to turn up in a Sauber.
No, I wouldn't. He's talking to teams, apparently. Which teams? I don't know. I don't know whether he's talking to Formula One teams or...
I wonder if he's
40, Lola, Pacific.
Yeah.
Williams.
You know how Williams have a good sort of history of employing ex-drivers as reserve drivers?
Williams had
Yeah.
held Frank Williams held Pastor Maldonado in quite high regard as well.
Pastor Maldonado, as Virtual Statman said, is a better driver than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah.
Crashed a lot, but he was quick.
He is the last person to win a Grand Prix for Williams.
Still is the last Williams driver to win a race.
Oh, we could have our game again.
Well, yes.
We could have the game back if Pastor came back into Formula One.
I tell you what, can you imagine how good the game would be if he was in an ill-handling Sauber?
That was getting lapped a lot.
Yeah.
Oh. What was it? That wonderful meme. I might have to post it on the Three Legs Four Wheels Facebook page later on. Mirror, signal, Maldonado.
There was another good one, which was just a picture of Maldonado's eyes, saying that's a fine Formula One race you have in there. Be a shame if somebody did something to it.
Yeah, Pastor Maldonado. He
Yeah.
says he wants a Grand Prix return, but it's from a website that, let's be honest, isn't the most reputable, and the translation is from a Spanish site which I've never heard of, but that's because I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, I've got it on here from a probably just as. Actually, no, I trust this one slightly more than I trust the one that we found it on. Fox Sports are reporting on exactly that.
Pastor Maldonado.
I trust Fox Sports because they're truthful with their NFL coverage, at least. So yeah, Fox Sports are actually saying
Paul is getting strange looks about saying he trusts Fox.
Yeah.
sports and news are separate. And
One's entertainment, the other's sports.
and it's also on the BBC.
Yeah, but they've linked it to that original article that we found.
The one from GrandPrix.com.
It's
Yeah.
also It's also the end of the season, and it's slow news days.
Yeah, true.
So
It would be until we get it from Autosport or Automoto und Sport.
Yeah. Or Sky.
Oh, Sky.
Oh,
Sky,
Sky.
pretty good.
But-
I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in Formula One. There's still Manor seats to be had, and there's still
There's still a seat at
seats.
Sauber, and they're two teams that need cash, and apparently he's got.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. They're,
Well, I would be surprised to see him back. He was quick, but the name he's made for himself for crashing out was well deserved.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you want people who are going to finish races.
do you, if you're Sauber though, do you? Because
Whoa.
having Maldonado in the team, even having Maldonado doing Maldonado things in a Sauber, will get them on TV more than we've seen them in the last 2 years.
Well, they don't get paid for being on TV, do they? They get.
Well, their sponsors get coverage.
Yeah.
Because Saubers are just moving billboards, not very quickly.
I
moving
don't
billboards.
forget that. You know, like racing games like Forza and Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Do you know why you can't have full damage models in them?
Yeah, because the car manufacturers don't like showing their cars being banged up.
Yeah, I think that would go through most sponsors of most things.
I don't know. I mean, how much did PDVSA pay every year to see him to
And
see
they
their logo
stopped
being bent double?
About $45 million.
Yeah.
See, but don't forget, there's a place where that money can go anywhere they want it to go for sponsorship. Yeah, when you got that sort of money, you can sponsor fucking anything you want.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're not sponsoring it. The money's almost there to be given away to something that's on television.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's helping mates out, isn't it? So it's at some point within that company, there is somebody connected to Maldonado where they say, we could do with that money that you've got allocated. And they say, well, you can fucking take it and make sure I get champagne out of it. They're not. That isn't there because it's an oil company, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't fucking think any oil company on the side of any car goes, fucking hell, since we've been advertising in Formula One, we're not half selling more barrels of that black stuff.
It's more of a Venezuelan thing with them as well, though, isn't it? It's a sort of.
Yeah, because I mean, there was the Visit Venezuela logos on the back of the Williams. It was kind of general Venezuelan government
Much like
sponsorship.
Checo Perez.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Much like Checo Perez was sponsored by the Mexican government when he was at Sauber.
Yeah.
Visit Mexico on his rear wing for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then F1 finally did.
They did, yeah.
It worked. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's
Why
move on.
not?
Right. We are now going to have the inaugural. No. We've got one of those. I'm doing you're doing the fanfare for the fanfare.
Fanfare.
Right. The Three Legs Four Wheels 2016 F1 Awards. And we start with
Ooh.
the Smedley Award.
So this is the award for...
Pulling defeat from the jaws of victory.
Right. Okay. We have nominations?
We have nominations. Do we want people to vote on these, or are we going to vote amongst ourselves? Shall we open it to listeners?
For a week?
Depends. Do we want to hand the awards out tonight? Have we invited the potential winners along?
There's only Toto here,
They don't do this at the Oscars.
but he couldn't make it, and he sent Rainier Wolfcastle instead.
So gargoyles, they do not sing.
So
Well, we can cast our votes.
we can
to
cast
see-
we can cast our votes. We can
And
cast our votes,
you listeners can tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah.
or why we're right.
And I will tell you why I'm right.
You do that every time you open your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the Smedley.
So the award, sorry, the nominations
The
for
nominations
the award.
for the Smedley Award for pulling defeat from the jaws of victory. Ferrari in Australia for switching Vettel onto the wrong tyres.
Oh, that was a good one because that was when the safety car came out for Alonso's accident.
Yes.
And everybody else went on to, I can't remember, I think it was soft tyres, and Ferrari was like, oh no, we're going to the super softs. And Vettel was leading the race. It was like, well, hang on, you're going to have to stop him again. He's going to have to build a gap of like 30 seconds before you stop him again. It didn't work.
It was 4:30 in the morning and we understood it better than Ferrari did.
Yeah.
Ferrari in Spain shadowing the wrong Red Bull.
Yep, that's a good shout because of the Raikkonen was shadowing Verstappen, and Vettel. They decided to have Vettel shadowing Ricciardo, and then Red Bull switched strategies, and Max ended up winning the race.
Yep.
Yeah, but they split the strategies with the teammates, didn't they? They
Yeah,
didn't-
but if they'd kept it as it was, Ferrari probably would end up not winning that race.
yeah.
But all Raikkonen had to do was overtake the guy on his first day in the job.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah. The third nomination is Mercedes in Malaysia, or Lewis's Malaysian engine for blowing up. And the fourth one, Red Bull for not having the tyres ready for Danny Rick in Monaco.
I think it's a
Danny
slam
Rick.
dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's got 4 votes for starters, hasn't it?
There's nothing you can say.
No.
No,
No, that's
it
the
wasn't even a case of like, you know, when with that race was at the Circuit of the Americas where Max pulled in and they weren't ready for him, and then they got ready for him quickly.
They still did a quicker pit stop then.
Yeah, they did a quicker pit stop then because in Monaco they were all sat down and Danny Rick appeared next to them and they just all looked over when he was already parked and went, "Oh fuck!"
Oh, we forgot we told you to come in on this lap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's got to be the Red Bull team for me with the Monaco thing.
Let's face it, if it was up to Red Bull, this podcast would just be got 3 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one is the Noel and Liam Gallagher We're Really the Best of Mates Honest Award.
Ah.
So we have Nico and Lewis since 2013, which apparently they're best of friends again now.
Apparently it's quite relaxed now. They know they're not going to be fighting each other for the championship.
That was according to Andy Cowell's seminar as well.
And Nico Rosberg has said that as well.
The second one, Nico and Toto at that weird contract signing. Man hugs all round in English and in German.
Yeah, but they acted it out again in German or in English, whichever one they did first, because I saw the English one first. But it was just all of the cringe. Like, hang on a second, you've acted this out as though it's the first time you've done it. No, one of them was definitely the second time.
So he signed his 2-year contract twice.
So he's left after not even a quarter of his 4 2-year deals.
Yeah.
2, 4.
6, 8.
Who
Yeah.
do we...
Mercedes told me that they signed a 2-year deal with Nico. Obviously, they're very lying.
Oh!
Well, I can't take credit for that one.
The third nomination, Nasser and Ericsson for their joint press release post Monaco.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, we're really matey, and we didn't just try and kill each other, and we weren't swearing at each other over the radio, and we weren't calling each other all those things.
But we're racing drivers, so
Yeah.
so we, you know, the team understands, and we understand the team, and it won't happen again. We're really sorry.
Yeah. I'm stuck on this one, but just for the cringe factor, for me, it's got to be the contract signing.
I think you've got to disqualify Lewis and Nico from this award because they haven't been pretending to be mates at all.
No. I mean, if you were to go back a few years, the first season Lewis and Jensen were at McLaren, they acted a bit matey.
They actually got
Playing
on
up for
all
the
right.
camera.
Yeah, I think they were
But
maybe.
they were matey, but they were acting matier than they were for the camera.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
And
Yeah.
then the following year, I think Ron told them just actually stop acting, be yourselves, and it didn't look forced anymore.
Yeah, Yeah.
Not sure.
I want to go with Nasser and Ericsson after that Monaco
Yeah,
coming
that was
together
funny.
because
I'm going
they
Nasser
put
and
out the
Ericsson.
joint press release, but it wasn't from Sauber. It was actually from both drivers, but from the Sauber official press thing, and it said, "Oh no, we're really sorry. We're actually really good friends. We just crashed a little bit because there's not much room in Monaco, and we're rubbish."
I think it was the fact that it came from the email address naughtystep@sauber.ch that kind of gave it away.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got another one.
Go on.
Gunther Steiner and
Oh, Esteban
Esteban
Gutierrez.
and that there is my vote.
Yeah,
That's a good shout.
I didn't even
They
think of that.
pretend to be mates.
They just had a bit of a falling out, didn't they? And Gunther Steiner looked
but
at him
I
as if to
enjoyed
say,
it.
"You do that again, bitch."
Yeah.
I've fired you already. There's only one more punishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next thing your parents will see is a policeman first thing in the morning.
In Mr. T's voice?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Gunther Steiner, the Italian, German, American
Mr. T impersonator.
Mr. T impersonator.
That's my vote because I don't like Esteban Gutierrez.
Obviously, if you've got any other suggestions, let us know.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We probably missed out loads, but
Yeah.
these are the ones that just came off the top of our heads.
The next thing we've got is the Piers Morgan "Why Are They Even Allowed on TV" award. There's a lot of contenders for this. I've got 3 listed here, but I'm sure that there will be more.
Why are they even allowed on TV?
Yeah.
Award.
The first one we've got written down is Eddie Jordan. Lee's
And
already...
our winner is
No, there's more. There's more.
no
Kai Abel.
Eddie Jordan.
Kai Abel beats Eddie Jordan for me.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because-
This is the kind of insightful analysis that our listeners
Yeah.
come for. Kai Abel is worse than Eddie Jordan.
He's not. He can't
He
be.
is.
He's not.
He is.
He's not
He
because
is.
Eddie Jordan is immortal. He won't die. Evil doesn't die. Kai Abel will die young. He'll like hit 50 or something like that, and his heart will explode. You can see it coming a mile off.
Eddie Jordan was at least involved in Formula One. Kai Abel just has comedy trousers.
Eddie Jordan looks like he's stolen Linda McCartney's wigs. It's not right.
We have got a third one written down, which is whoever that woman was that did the podium interviews in Austria,
Linda McCartney.
which I think her name was. I saw it written down earlier. And
Nicole something.
Naomi de Miguel,
Naomi de Miguel. We don't know who she is.
and she's never been heard of since.
No. Why was she on TV and why did she do?
She was incredibly pretty, wasn't she?
I don't remember. I just remember that. I just remember that being. What? Who are you and why are you on my TV? Go away.
What do you mean your TV? You were around at mine.
I was. Why are you on Paul's TV?
Paul, why have you got my TV?
But if you can think of anyone else that's less deserving of being on TV for F1 than Eddie Jordan or Kai Abel or Naomi. I mean, Lee, you can't think of anyone less deserving than Eddie Jordan for anything.
Craig Slater.
You really don't like him, do you?
Oh no.
Serena Williams.
Yeah, Serena
yes.
Williams. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
In fact,
Yeah.
both of them, because they both refused interviews, didn't they, on the grid?
They did.
So yeah, no, both of them. We'll just put them together. They're like they're the Williams
Brothers.
thing. Yeah.
You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Am I not?
No.
Why?
They sued someone for calling them that.
Did they?
Yes, and won.
Did they? Well, as long as they didn't hit them.
Just edit that then. That's fine.
Yeah. The Jacques Villeneuve.
Yes.
Next, we have the George Lucas Award for the worst podium interview of the year.
Kai Abel.
There is also whoever that woman was in Austria.
Is he nominated, Kai Abel?
Kai Abel is nominated.
There we go.
Always, everywhere, all of the time. And Nico Rosberg's attempt at a shoey with Danny Ricciardo.
Well, not really a podium interview, but
It was on the podium. It was during the interviews.
Podium shenanigans. That I would
Yeah.
put it.
It was. It was still all of the cringe.
I don't think these.
Do we think Nico's a germaphobe?
Didn't he throw up or something like afterwards?
He
I'm
threw,
sure
he threw up after a shoey. Yeah,
he
there was
threw up into his
a photo of
helmet.
him honking into the helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Danny Rick's shoe that he was drinking out of, wasn't it?
Oh, I think so.
But let's not be an idiot. Like, that's a bit stupid.
Yeah.
I've done much worse things than not being sick.
Yeah, I know.
Involving feet.
No, enough.
It's an Australian thing though, and there's been Australian MotoGP rider who's done it before, some years ago,
Yeah.
and it's a thing that's done at parties in Australia.
Yeah,
apparently.
Danny fucked it actually. He should have just kept it for a thing he did when he won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now become his podium thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of getting a bit.
Diluted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly champagne diluted with sweat, or the other way around.
I'd imagine that would fortify it.
Possibly. We've only got one nomination written down for the Captain Obvious of the Year award, so this one is open to anyone. We've got Something's Happened. Kimi Räikkönen on fire in Australia.
I think that now needs to go to Marchioni, that said that this year for Ferrari's been a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sort of see. Yeah, for not winning a race in 2016 would be a disaster. I don't think he realised kind of what was coming for Ferrari for the rest of 2016.
And they didn't win a race, and he said it was a disaster.
They didn't win a race, no, and also Maurizio Arrivabene got a $600 fine for throwing a cigarette butt on the floor in Singapore. That was expensive.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Singapore
No,
is...
he totally didn't. There was a press release saying he didn't, and everything.
Yeah, Singapore is very neat and tidy, and you're not even allowed chewing gum
Oh, right.
in the whole of the country.
Sounds nice. I don't like chewing gum.
No, I'm not keen. Mainly because I put artificial sweeteners in it, and they give me migraines.
That's good to know.
There's a fact. Right, next one. The Lola Award. Nice paint job, shame about the car.
The manor.
Really?
Well, I'm not so sure about the bright red and the bright blue next to each other. I mean,
I
it looks
quite-
better than the bright red manor of previous, and then
Yeah,
the red
I-
and black Marussia manor, or whatever they call
I
it.
quite like the red and blue manor.
I reckon Toro Rosso has a fair shout at this one.
Good looking car, went a bit shit towards the end
Yeah.
of the season.
It's either that or the Renault.
The Flying Banana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd call that a nice car.
Oh no, I think I like that colour of yellow. It's nice. It's nice to see
How about the
something.
McLaren?
No, because I think the McLaren looks shit black.
Black and sort of sparkly black and red.
Apparently it's going to be red and white next year.
Castrol.
I am sure we said this the same time.
No,
Pastel
it's
colours.
because of the... what are they dropping?
They're dropping Mobile 1,
Yeah, it
and
was...
they've got Castrol as their replacement. Castrol
Yeah.
and BP, basically, is their replacement fuel sponsor.
That's going to be a good-looking car next
so
year.
it's
it
gonna
should
be-
be British Racing Green.
So I was going to say it's going to be green because Castrol and BP both use green.
White and green.
And red, probably, the white-green with the red
Yeah.
with the stripes.
But if it's red, white, and green, won't that make it a little bit Italian looking?
Jaguar looking.
Alitalia, sort of Alitalia rally car looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other ones we've got written down are the Williams. Nice retro look.
Awesome. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I really like the Williams Martini. The Martini livery is brilliant.
Williams have been good at the retro design cars because when they had the BMW engines, the cars were meant to look like the old Brabhams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sort of did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was grand.
And now they've got the Martini ones, which again straight out the 70s. And the Sauber.
No, it didn't look like a nice car anyway.
No.
Well, how do we know? We didn't see it on telly.
Blue and yellow
shit.
Sauber.
Yeah.
It used to look a lot nicer when it was grey and red.
Yeah.
Yeah, blue and yellow is only because of the Banco do Brazil, really. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Even the
So-
white and blue one, like the old white and blue Sauber, was nicer than that.
I mean, Sauber's best livery was when they had the Red Bull sponsorship, and it looked like the
Red Bull and
Bulls
Petronas.
do these days.
Yeah.
now, yeah. Next one is the Gerhard Berger Award for biggest outburst of the year. Which particular Sebastian Vettel moment should we choose?
I would go for Charlie Whiting.
Yeah.
The one against in Mexico. The
Yeah, although Russia's got potential.
Russia
what
does
did
have
he say
potential.
in Russia?
He hit me up the fucking arse again.
Seriously.
Seriously, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Well, didn't Alonso have a good one? What? Oh, fuck.
Oh, the course I'm pushing. What do you think I'm doing every bloody lap?
No, didn't he have one where he basically said he was embarrassed because he kept getting overtaken? There was one like last year's.
Like last year's GP2.
Yeah, there was a good one from him.
One about this car shouldn't even be on the track.
Yes.
Yes.
And the
that
press release afterwards said that he was totally talking about a different car.
Yeah.
not the one that he was driving on that track.
It was the one he was trying to overtake.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's got to be
gotta be Charlie White.
It's got to be a Seb one. Got to be a Seb one in there because he has just been sweary.
Oh no, actually,
Sweary said for a lot of the year.
I kind of like Kimmy's one where Max kept cutting him off, and he radioed in and said something along the lines of, "Oh, so we can do that now? Well, that's fine. He does that again. We're crashing."
That was quite. Was that Belgium? Yeah, that was quite
Hungary,
good.
I think.
Hungary.
Yeah.
Well, the next one up actually is the Kimi Raikkonen Award for the best team radio message. I think for me there can be only one: Red Bull and Max. Max, why am I always stuck in the traffic? Pit wall. It's a street circuit, mate. Get used to it.
That was a pretty good one.
I'd go for a different Max one. I'd go for Brazil, and heart rate went up a bit there.
Oh, there's Jolyon Palmer's. I think I hit him.
Yeah, but you definitely did, Jolien. Absolutely.
That's where all the carbon fibre came from.
Yeah.
And another one that we have to discuss between us, probably part of the review, the Valencia Street Circuit Award for the least entertaining race.
Baku.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did have the engine mode thing, didn't it?
But it was just
Lewis.
a shit circuit in the end. It was a shit circuit for racing.
Yeah, but it's not very good, is it?
No.
No. I mean, I quite enjoyed. I think I said this on last week's podcast. I quite enjoyed the go ahead on F1 2016. I thought, well, I'll give Baku a go. It's probably going to be really boring and quite difficult. So it flows quite well as a circuit. I think it's quite a nice circuit to drive on the PlayStation
I think it's going to
at
be
least.
an interesting circuit next year,
But it's not a
with
good
the
race
wider
circuit.
cars,
Yeah.
especially because that fucking chicane.
Yeah, which is barely wide enough for a 2016 car. Yeah, I think those...
Ask Lewis.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, those barriers at the chicane are going to take a bit more of a pounding than...
Yeah, fucking right. It's going to end up like a Playboy model by the end of that weekend.
What, dressed as some kind of rabbit?
No, it's going to have 22 men in it.
Oh my god! We'll put the categories for the awards up on the Facebook page, and send us your suggestions, or send us which ones of our suggestions that you agree with.
Yeah, send us extra, as Paul said, extra suggestions are definitely most welcome.
Yeah, and we will we'll sort of give the final results next week.
Yeah.
We missed one. The Star of Finland Award for complete lack of personality. Actually, we're not opening this one to voting. Paddy Lowe.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe we'd run the race with Lewis going a bit longer in the first stint than Nico, and it worked out well. Thanks for that, Paddy Lowe.
Well,
You've
that was
just-
incisive.
You've just repeated the question back to me that I've just asked you.
I think that's about it for those. Couple of emails that have come in. Andrew Pryor, question for the panel. Oh, we're a panel.
Panel?
The panel. If you
It's
could,
like Gardener's question time.
it is a bit. If you could be any current
More of a
F1,
lineup.
if you could be any current F1 driver, who would you be and why? In brackets, I will allow Button as an option just for Lee. Andrew's suggestion would be, his pick would be Valtteri Bottas. Reason, he's cool, finish, and most importantly, I would then be married to Amelia Bottas, which would not be a bad thing. And I could get a Mercedes
Wouldn't
drive.
be a bad thing. Wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
Also, good shout out to Kimi Raikkonen's wife as well.
I was going to say Kimi,
Yeah.
because wouldn't it be great to have your own line of drinks?
Yes.
Can you just imagine what it would be like to have your own line of drinks?
That would be very, very
Yeah,
good.
that'd be a great thing.
It would be a great thing. I wonder what we'd have to do to get our own line of drinks.
Probably be very famous.
Or would we?
Or involved in Formula One in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Involved in Formula One some way. I would say I'd quite like to be.
Paddy Lowe by the sounds of things.
I think does it have to be a driver? Did he say driver?
He said current F1 driver.
I'll go with Lance Stroll because I've got all the millions already, so it doesn't matter if I'm shit. And if I'm not shit and I'm actually really good and I win, then I'm awesome and I've got all those years ahead of me.
Yeah, but just imagine having to wear all those Ralph Lauren clothes.
And looking like Lou Ferrigno.
I think. See, I'd like to go with Jacques Villeneuve. I know he's not a current driver. I'd like to go Jacques Villeneuve because in a year you smashed through Danny Minogue, Kylie Minogue, and Natalie Imbruglia. Like the Australian Trinity you did in 12 months. But I can't.
Oh, Canada.
But now your glory days are behind you.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing that you see,
You couldn't be Jacques Villeneuve. Your album's better than that.
if I'm Jensen, that I do have the accolade of being named Nutshagger of the Year 2005.
Oh right, was that what his award was in
Yeah.
2005?
So,
Back in the days when Nuts magazine was a thing.
yeah, and you've been through ex Mrs. Button as well, which would also be a fucking definite Sunday. Like, I don't know. I've never thought about who I'd like to be. Can I not just be Lee, but a Formula One driver shagging supermodels?
Maybe.
Right, I'll just be me. I'll just be me.
I'm sticking with wanting your own line of drinks.
All right.
Dan.
I don't know. It's tough call. Kimmy. It'd be awesome to be Kimmy. Just
Just to not say anything.
yeah.
What?
But it seemed like you're really cool rather than just lost for words.
Yeah. Be basically really, really ignorant, and people will love you for it.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, go on a driver's parade, which you really don't want to do, and Johnny Herbert sticks a microphone in your face going, "Get me right, can I do it? You're going to win this race, I'm taking on the grid!" Maybe. I don't know.
No. The funniest Kimmy driver parade moment was when Davide Valsecchi was interviewing him, and Valsecchi
The
was just
anti-Raikkonen.
yeah, he was just on full form. He was like, it's Kimi Raikkonen. I'm so excited. God, I'm wearing shoes. I'm so excited. Kimi, are you happy to be here? Wah.
So it's either Kimmy or Verstappen because
You want to be 18 again?
18 again. Only
That's kind of why I went with Lance Stroll.
people thinking you're a future world champion.
Yeah.
Lewis would have some life as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because don't forget, if you we might not like some of the stuff Lewis likes, but if you're Lewis, you'll like it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, if I was Lewis, I'd paint my private jet a different colour.
He's got, was it candy apple red, isn't it, or
Yeah.
something?
I love candy apple red. It's the nicest colour to have any instrument. Why wouldn't you want to play in that colour?
It's
You ever tried
it's
to,
not. There's
You ever tried to
prettier
restring a
Bluetooth.
plane?
Restringing them's not the point. It's tuning them with fresh strings. That's the problem.
That's a good one. I quite like that one. Which driver would you be? It's a difficult question.
Yeah, that's.
Max, chill. No.
You'd have a rich dad.
Yeah, it's not a trade-off though, is it?
Yeah, well, no, that'd mean your dad was loaded.
Living life, like living luxury as a twat.
Yeah, no, I don't think No, there ain't enough money in the world to be able to do that.
You're the most luxurious bell end on the paddock wall.
You're back to Jensen in 2005. Yeah.
Anything else in the mailbag?
Cheers for that one. Andreas congratulated us on being able to pronounce his surname, and I can't remember how I said it last week. Criseliu, I think it was.
That'll do.
Yep, he said that I've actually joined a unique group of Brits who pronounce my surname correctly, and he also says Danny Rick for the first win of 2017.
Not a bad shout.
No.
But it's his home Grand Prix in Australia, and even though I think Singapore's actually not that much further from Perth than Melbourne.
But it is a different country.
It is a different country, yeah. But the Red Bull is thought to be a lot closer to Mercedes for next year, but that's all just guessing at the moment.
Yeah, Christian Horner said they're not going to be, so they're going to be.
Yeah.
We can have a whole podcast dedicated to how wrong we're going to be about next year.
He is...
Let's do that after the spring testing.
What's he doing?
When we've
Bag
got some
sanding?
information to...
No, we have to have the one before where we just guess everything, and then we have the embarrassing one afterwards and go,
Where we...
wow, that's Selba then.
Where we still get everything wrong.
Yeah.
Is he bag sanding or is he sandbagging?
If he's
bagging.
if he's saying that
Tea
they are
bagging.
worse than they are, then that's sandbagging. Because we thought when the Force India was quick in testing last year, and we didn't think it was going to be that quick in the race, we thought they were bag sanding because
They were looking like they were awesome.
yeah, and as it turned out, they were the fourth best team.
Maybe
But
that's
not
what
at the start of the
Rosberg's
year.
doing. Get rid of his car as like extreme sandbagging for next year.
Yeah, I'm just going to run.
It's a brave one. I'll give him that. It's brave.
He's going to do a Hulkenberg, and he's actually going to win the world title on a skateboard backwards
Without a team.
without a team.
My favourite Formula One quote was David Coulthard when someone asked him about like drivers falling out with teams, and he said, "Yeah, he said you can get frustrated with your team, but then you remember that without the team, you sat on the grid in your underpants."
That's a cracking one.
Nice one, DC.
I think that's about it for this week. Just to say, get in touch. We'll put the put the categories for the awards up on the Facebook page.
Yeah, if anything major breaks, are we going to try and do something, or should we just pod?
If anything major breaks, then we will see what see what the hell is
We'll
going
fix
on.
it.
Yeah.
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 We'll be back at the normal time
I think
next
especially
week.
with that thing on Friday, we might try and do something if something big
If
emerges.
if something big happens, then we will try and get as many of us together as possible. Dan, you're disappearing off on Friday, aren't you?
I am, yes.
So this is your last show of the year,
Unless you can
Wow.
join us with...
unless something happens. Unless you can join us by Skype next week.
I will do my best to join you by Skype.
So this is your last show of the year where you brought biscuits.
no,
Only
well,
I
hang
didn't
on.
bring biscuits.
I've really enjoyed having you around, Dan. It's
Thank
been
you.
good. You still have told him, yeah. Oh, sorry. No, it's fine. It's the last one of the year, Dan. Last of the year.
This is my Barrichello show.
We're going to see him walking off into the sunset with the flag of.
So I think I'll be back next year. I'm not sure.
Well, you'll be back next week if we can sort the Skype out.
Be back next week
Um,
if we don't have technical issues.
which we shouldn't do because now we know how to work Skype, and I don't break things anymore.
No, you don't break things anymore.
The computer breaks itself.
Yeah, hates
Yeah.
us.
We skyped reasonably well last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and then don't forget when it got to last week's normal show, I left the cable in, and we couldn't work out why only 3 out of the 4 mics worked.
Yeah, because Paul left a cable in the wrong place.
Yeah, but I've fixed that now because all the mics are working.
Are they? Good.
I'm glad you said that because otherwise I'd have thought yours had died up.
How can people get in touch with us if they want to?
I'm glad you said that because that's kind of brought us back on topic. We've got the Facebook page, 3 Legs 4 Wheels.
Go like it.
We have Twitter at 3 Legs 4 Wheels and Lee's.
I shouldn't go follow it.
You can find us on Patreon if you want to pledge to set up the fund to buy non-updating versions of Windows, which I think is what it's going for now.
Go funders.
No, not GoFunders. It's Patreon. There's a difference.
Go patronisers.
Yep, so patreon.com and search for 3 Legs 4 Wheels. And you can drop us an email on 3legs4wheels@gmail.com.
Go email us.
And Lee has another podcast.
Called Banter Club Pro Wrestling Podcast. You can download that usually on a Friday. So go and do that. We've got a Facebook page which we rarely use. We've got a Twitter which we're more active on as well. I think it's at Banter Club Pod, the Twitter.
Right. So that's all the ways of getting in touch. We will be back next week or sooner if there's any news.
Yeah.
We will see you soon.
Arrivederci.
Bye-bye.
Bye.